In this math review video, we're going to take a look at how to solve equations using addition and subtraction. Now, as you can see, I've got my number line at the top, and I've got three different equations. So let's take a look at the first one down here. M plus 5 equals 11. And what we want to do is we want to find out what M equals. So how do we do that? Remember, we want to do something called, we want to isolate the variable. We want to get M totally by itself, where it says M equals the answer. So remember, when we're trying to isolate the variable, if right now I have M plus 5, I need to get rid of this 5. If I could get rid of this 5, I would just have M on the left side of the equal sign. So how do I get rid of a 5? You do the opposite. So the opposite of plus 5 is minus 5. And remember, whatever you do to the one side of the equation, you have to do to the other to balance it out. So if I subtract 5 over here, I'm going to subtract 5 over here. And then if I kind of draw my line, 5 minus 5 is what? 5 minus 5 is 0, so really this just canceled out. So I've got 0 and M, so really I've got M by itself. I have isolated the variable. And now 11 minus 5 is 6, so I just solved this equation. The missing number, the variable, was 6. And if I plugged it back in, if I put the 6 right in here with the M to see if it works, 6 plus 5 equals 11. Yep, it worked. I checked my work, so I'm good to go. Let's take a look at the second problem. Now it gets a little trickier, but because we've got negative numbers, but we're still going to follow the same process. 4 plus y equals negative 6. I want to isolate the variable. I need to get y by itself. So I got to get rid of this 4. How do I get rid of 4? Do the opposite. So this is a positive 4. So the opposite of positive 4 is negative 4. Or the opposite of 4, subtract 4. That's going to get rid of it. So, but if I did it to the left, I got to do the same thing to the right. So now 4 minus 4 is 0. So I just got rid of this, which means I'm left with just y. Plus y is just y. It's a positive y equals, and now here's we got negative 6 minus 4. And like I mentioned in class, it's a good idea. You might want to rewrite it the way we're used to writing it. Negative 6 minus 4. Negative 6 minus 4. And now we can go back up and we can use our number line and see, well, let's see how this works. Remember, on our number line, we're going to start our arrow on the first number, so negative 6. So we've got our arrow on negative 6. We always begin by pointing to the right. And every time we see a negative sign, what do? You flip the direction of the arrow. So negative 6 minus means flip 4. So we'll just count 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what am I left on? I finished on negative 10. So the answer is y equals negative 10. And if I plug that in, if I put a negative 10 right in here to check my work, 4 plus negative 10, well, if I did that and went back over here and moved my, let's see, I got to start on 4, and we're going to start to the right. Whoops, there we go. 4 plus negative 10. 4 plus negative, whoops, which means flip, whoa, there we go, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I end up on negative 6, which is what my negative 6 was. So I just checked my work, and the answer is correct. Okay? So let's take a look at this last problem. Negative 3 plus q, that's my variable, equals negative 6. Well, I got to isolate the variable. I want to get q by itself, which means I've got to get rid of this negative 3. To get rid of a negative 3, do the opposite. The opposite of negative 3 is positive 3. And if I do it to the left, I've got to do it to the right side of the equation as well. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. This just canceled out, which leaves me with just q. Q equals negative 6 plus 3. Negative 6 plus 3. All right, well, let's take a look up on our number line. Got to start on negative 6. And let's go ahead and we got to always start, remember, always start to the right. So negative 6 plus 3. I'm not going to have to flip. Negative 6 plus 3. So 1, 2, 3. I end up on negative 3. So my answer, Q equals negative 3. And if I plugged it back in, negative 3 plus, if I think my answer is negative 3, I can check my work. So here we go. Negative 3 plus negative 3. Negative 3 plus negative, flip the directions, 3, 1, 2, 3. I end up on negative 6, which is what I had, negative 6 here. So I just checked my work, and it is correct.